Carl Jung once said something profoundly insightful. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. These words may feel weighty, but they carry a powerful key to unlocking why we so often feel trapped in recurring life patterns. Many of us believe we're simply unlucky or destined to repeat cycles of unfulfilling relationships, career disappointments, or emotional highs and lows. Yet Jung's message points us inward. It's not external forces or bad luck shaping our lives, but an unseen interplay between our conscious mind and the deeper layers of our psyche. If you've ever asked yourself, why does this keep happening to me? It might be a signal from your inner world, urging you to uncover a deeper truth. Maybe, just maybe, you're being drawn toward your own wholeness. What Jung calls individuation, the journey of becoming the truest version of yourself. Before we go deeper, if you find value in these reflections, consider subscribing so you don't miss future explorations into the hidden corners of your mind. Picture yourself walking through an enormous maze. At first, the towering hedges feel suffocating, the endless turns confusing, and every dead end tempts you to give up. But something within compels you forward. You sense that at the maze's center lies a wellspring of forgotten wisdom, a version of you that has been waiting to be rediscovered. Every loop, every setback isn't just an annoyance. It might actually be your psyche's way of steering you toward that hidden chamber where your most authentic self waits. Yet many of us experience these loops as random misfortune. We quit one job because the boss is unbearable, only to land another where the boss behaves the same. We leave a partner who ignores us, only to find ourselves dating someone uncannily similar. We take up new hobbies full of excitement, only to slip back into old habits. In these moments, we tend to assume the problem lies outside of us, never imagining that something within is asking to be seen, healed, and integrated. Jung would say these persistent cycles are signposts calling us toward individuation. The lifelong process of becoming whole by embracing both our conscious desires and unconscious truths. Just as a seedling pushes through dense soil toward the sunlight, our unconscious pushes through our daily experiences, making us repeat certain loops to reveal the parts of ourselves we have overlooked. Your shadow, the hidden side of you. That contains both suppressed fears and untapped strengths, often emerges through these repetitive patterns, hoping you'll notice. The persona, the mask you show to the world, might start to crack under repeated stress, offering glimpses of your raw, authentic self. Even your complexes, those emotional tangles from past wounds, pull at your thoughts and behaviors until you finally turn your awareness toward them. The key question is, are we willing to see these loops not as punishments, but as invitations to integrate every part of ourselves and move toward a more unified life? Let's journey further into this symbolic maze. Jung's path of individuation isn't about achieving perfection. It's about achieving wholeness. And to become whole, we must befriend all aspects of who we are, even the parts we've ignored, rejected, or buried for years. Picture the maze as a living tapestry, where each repeated challenge or emotional loop is a thread pointing you toward the missing pieces of yourself. When you become aware of this, you gain the power to weave those pieces into a richer, more vibrant expression of being. Stay with me, and as we navigate these ideas together, feel free to share your own reflections in the comments or with someone who might resonate with these patterns. Now, let's bring these concepts down to earth by looking at how these loops show up in everyday life. Imagine a woman who repeatedly finds herself in relationships with emotionally unavailable partners. She finally breaks free, feeling relieved, only to fall for someone new, who, after a few months, displays the same distant behaviors. She asks herself, "Why me? Why can't I find someone who truly cares?" From a Jungian perspective, her unconscious might be pulling her to explore a disowned part of herself, perhaps a fear of abandonment rooted in childhood, or a deep belief that her needs don't matter. This unexamined wound creates a loop, causing her to reenact the same dynamic with different people. Instead of blaming fate, she could begin to see the pattern as a call to strengthen her self-worth, honor her needs, and become more discerning. In her relationships, integrating these insights helps break the loop and moves her closer to individuation. Or think of a man who jumps from job to job, convinced that the next role will finally make him feel valued and fulfilled. But time after time, he clashes with colleagues or becomes bored and frustrated, eventually quitting and starting over elsewhere, only to encounter the same disappointments. On the surface, it looks like a series of bad workplaces. But what if these cycles reflect his hidden fear of success or a buried belief that he's unworthy of true achievement? Maybe unconsciously he sabotages each new opportunity because stepping fully into his potential feels threatening. Recognizing this dynamic is the first step to healing. Instead of chasing external validation, he can explore why he feels undeserving. And in doing so, he integrates the part of himself that longs to shine. Then there's the person who throws themselves into every self-improvement trend, retreats, workshops, gurus. But after the initial enthusiasm, they fall back into old routines. They may blame themselves for lacking discipline or think they just haven't found the right method. But in Jung's terms, they might be ignoring a crucial aspect of their deeper psyche, a shadow part that resists change, or a childhood wound that equates transformation with danger. As soon as the process starts getting serious, unconscious fears kick in and pull them back. Each loop is an invitation. See me, heal me, integrate me. Until that shadow is acknowledged, progress will feel like running in circles. So, how do we break free from these loops? Jung believed that by bringing unconscious material into conscious awareness, we liberate ourselves from repetitive patterns. It's like shining a light into a dim room. Once you see what's there, you can rearrange the space. Before we continue, if these insights resonate with you, consider liking, subscribing, or sharing this with someone who might need this spark of clarity. A powerful metaphor for individuation is the ancient practice of alchemy, the idea of transforming base metals into gold. Alchemists weren't just working with physical materials, they symbolized the transformation of the soul. Your repeated life loops, in this sense, are the fires heating the crucible of your psyche. Each loop applies pressure to an unrefined part of you, asking, will you stay as you are, or will you let the fire transform you into the gold of greater self-awareness? Think of the old mythological labyrinth where at the center waits the Minotaur, a creature often seen as terrifying and monstrous. But in Jungian symbolism, monsters usually represent the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide or fear. If you run from them, you remain trapped in the maze. But if you summon your courage, face the beast, and even show it compassion, you may discover it holds a vital piece of your personal power. Confronting the shadow is how individuation unfolds. By engaging with what feels monstrous, you tap into reservoirs of energy, creativity, and authenticity. In real life, this could mean recognizing that your anger or fear of rejection isn't bad. It's a signal pointing to unmet needs or crossed boundaries. By owning these feelings, you stop projecting them onto others and break yet another cycle. Another key idea tied to individuation is the concept of archetypes, universal patterns or themes that shape the human psyche, the hero, the caregiver, the lover, the child. These are archetypal energies we all carry within. Sometimes we get stuck because we're locked into one archetype, unconsciously playing out its patterns. For example, if you're caught in the victim mindset, every challenge becomes proof that life is against you. Or if you're stuck in hero mode, you may repeatedly find yourself in crisis, forced to save the day, leaving you exhausted and resentful. By becoming aware of these archetypal energies and learning to move flexibly among them, you allow your psyche to express itself more healthily, loosening the grip of repetitive patterns and opening new possibilities. A third tool linked to individuation is Jung's method of active imagination, engaging your unconscious directly through visualization, art, or writing. When you're caught in a loop, you can personify that pattern. If you feel unheard, visualize the part of you that's desperate to speak. Ask it why it feels silenced and what it needs. At first, this may feel strange, but at times, you may uncover insights that pure rational analysis could never reach. It's as if the labyrinth itself begins whispering, guiding you toward its center, where your deeper self resides. So, how can you bring these ideas into your everyday life? First, establish a consistent journaling practice. As soon as you notice recurring patterns, like repeatedly falling for emotionally unavailable partners or facing the same fear at each new job, write them down. Trace them back. Ask yourself, what belief or fear is keeping me stuck here? Keep probing until you uncover an insight that resonates deeply within you, one that sparks an aha moment. Second, explore dream analysis, one of Jung's favorite tools. Dreams often slip past our conscious filters, revealing subtle truths from the unconscious. If you keep dreaming of being chased, falling, or missing a train, these images may reflect repeating patterns in your life. By interpreting these symbols, perhaps with a therapist or through well-researched Jungian resources, you can identify themes tied to unresolved emotional knots. Third, deliberately step outside your comfort zone. If you sense that a particular archetype or shadow is holding you back, challenge it directly. For example, if your loop involves always obeying authority without question, try a small act of self-assertion. Observe your discomfort, then reflect on what it reveals about your hidden boundaries or core values. These small, intentional actions can begin loosening the grip of old patterns, opening space for new ways of being. Let's pause here for a deep breath and integration. If you're finding this journey meaningful, consider sharing it with a friend who might also feel trapped in repeating loops. Sometimes, just knowing that our struggles carry deeper meaning can spark real transformation. The labyrinth can feel isolating, but when we share our stories, we realize others are wandering its corridors too, searching for their own center. As you walk the path of individuation, remember, these loops, though frustrating, are not punishments. They are signals, nudges, inviting you to face something inside that's been waiting for acknowledgement. The real challenge is not the loop itself, but our reluctance or unawareness to confront what it's trying to reveal. How often do we vow never to date that kind of person again, or never to let stress overwhelm us again, only to find ourselves in the same situation? A valuable reflection is to ask, what lesson is this loop trying to teach me that I've been avoiding? Or, if I could speak directly to this pattern, what would I say? And what might it say back? Simply imagining this dialogue can offer surprising answers, like realizing the pattern began when you were 6, craving approval, or as a teenager, fearing rejection. That's when you understand. These loops aren't random. They are the psyche's time capsules. Here's a real-world example. Someone who constantly seeks praise from authority figures may notice that in every new workplace or friend group, they work hard to become indispensable, hoping to be seen. Yet they repeatedly end up feeling used or invisible. This loop may trace back to an unresolved father complex, not just about the father himself, but the emotional imprint left behind. By recognizing this dynamic and tending to the wounded child within, they might learn to set boundaries, trust their own worth, and realize they don't need external validation to feel whole. Once the hidden driver, unacknowledged, shame or the longing to be seen, is addressed, the loop dissolves. An aha moment often comes when you realize what you've been avoiding is exactly what holds the key to healing. For instance, if you fear loneliness, you might bounce from relationship to relationship without ever addressing the root issue. But when you choose to sit with solitude intentionally, you might discover it's not only bearable, but deeply nourishing. Once that fear is integrated, the compulsion to cling to unhealthy attachments can fall away. Another insight might arise when you realize your intense anger at being controlled is your inner self's demand for autonomy. By channeling that anger constructively, perhaps through assertive communication, you free yourself from cycles of resentment and conflict. While individuation is deeply personal, it's also universal. We all carry unconscious aspects, shadows, and archetypal energies. A beautiful byproduct of this inner work is greater empathy. Once you understand how your own loops form and why you stumble over them, you gain compassion for others tangled in their own labyrinths. This doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior. It means holding both compassion and boundaries. In relationships, rather than blaming each other for repeated fights, you can explore together how each person's unconscious material may be fueling the conflict. Shifting from blame to curiosity can transform couples, families, and friendships. Let's recap simply. Carl Jung's core ideal of individuation is about weaving together every part of yourself, thoughts, feelings, fears, dreams, talents, into a unified whole. When we ignore or deny aspects of ourselves, they often show up as repeating life patterns. We break these loops by understanding their symbolism, embracing the shadow, and engaging the unconscious through practices like journaling, dream work, and active imagination. Real-world examples reveal how these loops appear in relationships, careers, and personal growth. Practical steps, journaling patterns, working with dreams, challenging your comfort zones, help shine light on the unconscious and loosen patterns that once felt like fate. Now, take a moment. Do you notice any loops in your own life? Is there something you repeat that leaves you frustrated or questioning your choices? Could it be that your yearning for wholeness, for individuation, is behind these loops, gently nudging you toward deeper self-understanding? If so, you're not alone, and there's immense potential waiting right here, right now. By recognizing these patterns, you unlock the door to transforming them. The labyrinth has always been your teacher. It's simply been waiting for you to realize it. As we close, here's a final insight. These loops are not roadblocks meant to break you down. They are mirrors, reflecting the parts of yourself you've yet to embrace. They are messages from your unconscious, urging you to grow into your fullest, most integrated self. By shifting your perspective, you change your relationship to these challenges, transforming them into stepping stones on your path to individuation. So, how can you begin applying this today? Spend a few quiet minutes each day in self-reflection or meditation. Ask yourself, what patterns keep showing up in my life? Note them without judgment. Stay open to the possibility that these patterns have deeper roots than you suspect. If you have dreams, write them down. Watch for recurring themes or symbols. Notice parallels in your waking life. Do repeated images of water point to unacknowledged emotional depth? Do dreams of old classrooms suggest unlearned lessons from your past? Let curiosity, not self-criticism, guide you, and, most importantly, be patient with yourself. Individuation is a lifelong journey, not a weekend project. Finally, I invite you into a sense of community. Feel free to share your reflections, questions, or personal loops in the comments. You might find someone who has walked a similar path and has insights to offer. We grow not just in solitude, but through the shared exchange of stories and wisdom. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing and staying connected. Together, we're exploring these inner mysteries, and every shared insight or thoughtful comment could spark a breakthrough for someone else. Individuation is often likened to a seed becoming a flower. The loops are like the seasons. They may feel repetitive, but they are always carrying you one step closer to full bloom. Jung's wisdom reminds us that the inward journey is just as important as the outward steps we take in the world. So, next time you feel trapped in a loop, ask yourself, is my longing for wholeness calling me to look deeper? Let that question be your guiding light as you navigate the labyrinth of your unconscious, searching for the gold hidden within. And remember, each twist and turn has the power to reveal more of who you truly are. The deeper you go, the brighter. The light of your integrated self will shine. Embrace that light and watch how your life transforms in ways you once thought impossible.